A round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening.
My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, eccentric, cute and deep. The scent, delicate, and the petals, gentle, sturdy.
I didn't always know this. I learned this in a vagina workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the vagina workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas and who helps other women see their own vaginas to see other women's vaginas.
Yeah. So in the first session, the woman who runs the vagina workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own
Unique, beautiful, and fabulous vagina!
That's what she called it. So she wanted to know what our own unique, beautiful, and fabulous vagina looked like to us. So this one pregnant woman drew this big red mouth, screaming with coins spitting out of it. And a skinny woman drew a kind of serving platter with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. Again. So I just drew a black spot with squiggly lines around it. And the black spot is equal to a black hole in the universe, and the squiggly lines represent things or people or just your basic atoms that get lost in there. So, yeah, I'd always thought of my vagina as this kind of anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles from the surrounding environment. I had never thought of it in practical or biological terms. You know, I never thought of it as something that was attached to me.
In the workshop, we also look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. And I must tell you, up to that point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on either hearsay or invention. I had never really, seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it, and it felt so weird to look at it like that, and it felt so weird and so awkward. Looking at it like we were in the workshop on our shiny blue mats with our hand mirrors. And it reminded me of how the earlier astronomers would have felt with their primitive telescope.
Yeah, it was quite unsettling at first, my vagina. Like, the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this whole bloody complex world right under the skin, you know, so dry, so fresh, and so red. But the thing that surprised me most was all the layers. Layer inside of layer, opening to more layers and layers and layers.
My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak when it came to my turn in the workshop, and I was honestly speechless. I had awakened to what the woman around the workshop called Vagina Wonder! And I just wanted to lay there on my blue mat, exploring and examining my vagina forever.
It was better than the Grand Canyon. It was ancient, and it was full of grace, and it had the innocence and the freshness of a proper English garden. And it was funny, and it made me laugh, and you could play hide and seek, and it could open, and it could close and open. And then the woman who runs the vagina workshop asked how many women in the workshop had had an orgasm. 2 women tentatively raised their hand.
I didn't raise my hand, but I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they had all been accidental orgasms. They happened to me. And they happened in my dreams, and I would wake up in splendor, and they happened a lot in water, mostly in Bath, and this one time at Cape Cod. And it happened on horses and on bicycles, and one time at the gym. And I didn't raise my hand because, although I had orgasms, I just didn't know how to make one happen. And I looked upon it as a magical, mystical thing, and I just didn't want to interfere.
Yeah, it felt wrong getting involved. Contrived, manipulative. It felt so Hollywood, you know? The mystery would be gone, and the surprise. The problem was, the surprise had been gone for 2 whole years. And I hadn't had a magical, accidental, surprise orgasm in a really long time. And I was getting really frantic. And that's why I went to the vagina workshop, okay?
The woman around the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. the group of us women, on our backs, on our mats, searching for a spot, looking for a locus or reason. I don't know why, but I suddenly started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment, or maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy, the enormous life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was going to do this for me. The fantasy that someone was coming to lead my life and to choose my directions and, most importantly, give me my orgasm. I could feel the panic coming.
Simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumers, because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris. That I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, dry, dead, shut down, apricot tasting bitter.
Oh my God!
And I lay there with my mirror, looking for my spot, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was that time when I'd lost my gold ring with the emeralds in the lake, and I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring, okay? And God, the panic I felt, I knew I'd be punished.
The woman around the workshop saw my insane scrambling, my sweating, and my heavy breathing, and she came on over, and I told her, it's gone, I lost my clitoris, I shouldn't have worn it swimming. And then she helped me, and she calmly stroked my forehead, and she told me,
your clitoris is not something that you can lose. It is you. It is the essence of you. It's not the doorbell to your house and the house itself. You don't have to find it. You have to be it.
be it? Be my clitoris? Be my clitoris. Okay, so I lay down on the mat, and I closed my eyes.
Be my.
This time, I put the mirror down. I watched myself floating above myself, and I watched as I slowly began to approach myself and to re-enter.